Hello there, my name is Marcus. Welcome to my channel. Thought for a few days whether or not I wanted to speak on this topic or not. As we all know, the other day, D23 released all of their Disney parks info. A lot of bombshells, a lot of stuff that upset a lot of people. A new Cars Land and a new Villains Land is coming to the Magic Kingdom. However, with those new areas being constructed, old areas have to be replaced. So what's going? Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, along with the Liberty Bell. This has upset a lot of the old school fan base. I'd say the generations from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. We've been going to these parks since the mid 2000s. And listen, I gotta tell you, we've seen some attractions that we originally fell in love with that made us start going to Disney World in the first place that just don't exist. The original Test Track, Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, Wishes. I loved all of these attractions and nighttime shows, but Disney has to evolve to keep up with the demand, their competitors, and this new generation park goer. Epic Universe is coming. I know I haven't really spoke a lot about it on this channel, but a mere 20-minute drive away, Disney is about to face the biggest competition it's ever faced in its 50-plus year history. Universal has never really served as a true threat to Walt Disney World, in my opinion. 2025, that changes. Universal Studios has cutting-edge technology. All of their attractions, not all of them, but the majority of them are thrill attractions that people, young adults, teenagers, want to ride. Disney still appeals more to the family vacation, but the properties that Universal Studios has acquired over the last few years, they're becoming a serious threat. Old school Disney peeps and fans like to claim that Universal Studios hasn't been a threat to Disney in the last couple of years and the future. But listen, I gotta tell you, they're in denial. For the first time ever in 15 years of going to these parks, I and my wife will be planning a specific Universal Studios vacation where we'll stay at a Universal Studios hotel and strictly only go to Epic Universe, Islands of Adventure, and Universal Studios Orlando. Point blank, period. They have a deal that the only way you're going to be able to get into the new park is by purchasing a 3-day park day deal with Universal, where you basically have to pick a park per day and only go to the Universal theme parks. That's the only way you're getting into Epic Universe. So that's what we're going to do. It's getting to the point where, do we want to take a Universal vacation or do we want to take a Disney vacation? When Epic Universe opens up, it's going to get to that point where, oh, listen, we'll do a Universal Studios vacation this time. We'll hit Disney on the slide on the next one. Now, I've said all that to say that the reason that Disney World has been so successful for so many decades is the continued evolution of the parks. If the Imagineers don't continue to evolve these parks to fit the current state of society, then the parks will wither away and die of old age. There's not a doubt in my mind that people that grew up in the 70s and 80s have fond memories of Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America. That's obvious. However, as I've stated before, Disney World caters to the current generation of children, the current generation family. 70s and 80s boomers are grandparents now that are not going to the parks as frequently as they once did. The Imagineers have to cater to the generations of the 2000s, the 2010s. The new Cars Land will be a perfect representation of that. Would that have been my personal choice? No. I think the Cars franchise is perfectly represented in Disney's California Adventures Radiator Springs. Would I have chosen that to be a similar situation for Disney World's Magic Kingdom? No, it would not have been my choice at all. But from a business perspective, I understand it 1000%. As of today, the entire Cars franchise, from the movies to the TV shows to the attractions to the merchandise, has made Disney $21.79 billion. Let me say that one more time. The entire Cars franchise has made the Disney Corporation $21.79 billion. I'm sorry. Tom Sawyer Island was cool back in the day, but I mean, money talks. And to be able to compete with Epic Universe that's going to hold Super Mario, Harry Potter, the classic monsters of Universal, How to Train Your Dragon, Disney needs to pull out the big guns. Cars is a representation of that. Point blank, period. I believe that Disney is fully aware that they knew that this move was going to piss off the older generation. But honestly, I think they're saying, get over it. You know, this is a business. We're running a business. We're here to garner to the parents of today and their children, not the older generation. We have to cater to the tourists that are traveling from Europe, traveling from Japan, traveling from other parts of America, traveling from China. This is what they are interested in. They are not interested in Tom Sawyer Island or getting on the Liberty Boat to travel across the rivers of America when we're expecting them to pay $125 per day per park ticket. You have to factor in the reality of if you're going to be paying that much to get into the theme park, this is what's expected. Like I stated at the beginning of the video, I've been going to these parks long enough where I have old school attractions that no longer exist that I wish would have lasted forever. Illuminations Reflections of Earth is one of the sole reasons that made me fall in love with these parks in the first place, and why I take my family 2 to 3 times a year, every year for the last 15 years. But I think it's unrealistic for me to expect Disney to continue to hold that attraction hostage and not updated for the newer generation with the new technology that we continue to see every year. I always hear the saying, this isn't Walt Disney. This wasn't his vision. You're right. It's not Walt Disney anymore. Walt Disney lived in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and passed away in the mid 60s. That's just unrealistic to think that it's going to hold those standards of society. If you want these parks to continue to thrive, you have to evolve, especially when you have a serious competition coming that's only 20 minutes away. I've heard the argument that people are upset that Cars is not fitting into the Frontierland theming. My response to that is, listen, I understand that frustration, but Radiator Springs specifically has a desert theme to it. I feel like Disney probably looked at that as well and said, it's close enough. The Cars is popular. You know, the desert theme of Radiation Springs is close enough to Frontierland, even though obviously, you know, racing vehicles didn't exist in the Wild Wild West. But they're like, listen, it's fine. It'll work itself out. I've also heard the argument that people are upset because the Liberty Bell and Tom Sawyer Island were perfect spots to kind of go and get away from the hustle and the bustle of inside of the theme park. Listen, man, I get that. But if you know the Walt Disney World Resort, it's so many areas on Disney property, specifically the resorts, the Grand Floridian, the Boardwalk, the Polynesian. There are plenty of beautiful areas where you can sit and get your chill on within the resort, that you can still get that Disney atmosphere, that Disney guest service without leaving the Disney bubble. You know, if I'm in one of the 4 theme parks, I mean, personally, if I want to go somewhere and chill, I go into one of the interior attractions to maybe get in a little 10-15 minute nap or so. But it's just never been my cup of tea to get on a raft and go to Tom Sawyer Island and chill for 30-45 minutes. It's just, no one's doing that. I've been to this park 3 times in the past year, and every time I've looked at the Liberty Bell or Tom Sawyer Island, they've been completely empty. I'd be hard pressed if Disney put up a poll asking people if they were okay with Tom Sawyer Island being demolished so that a brand new Cars Land could be installed. I'm sure that the majority of people are going to say, yeah, go on ahead and take that thing down, bro. And let's put that Lightning McQueen in there. Ka-chow! It is what it is, man. Okay, I think I've gotten out all of my points that I wanted to get out for this one specifically. You know, let me just say that it was definitely not my intention to upset anyone or to make fun of somebody's classic endeavors to Disney World. I love these parks. I love this resort. We go so often, we essentially call it our second home. Oh, well, actually, I'll tell you what, one more point I want to point out real quick. I've also heard, why don't they just build another theme park for Disney so that they can put the Villains Lane in there? Because Disney doesn't have that much money. Why do you think they're charging us money for fast passes now? Come on, man. It's way cheaper just to demolish an old attraction and put something new in there than break ground for a full new theme park. There's no way Disney's got that kind of money. And I feel like the current state of the parks kind of tells that tale. Saying all that, if I were you, if you were a fan of these attractions, I would take my due diligence and get over to the park so that you can experience these attractions one more time before the construction begins. That's what we did with the original Splash Mountain before it closed down and got converted into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. All right, my friends, and that's going to do it for this one. So what I want to know now is, how do you feel about it? Do you agree with Disney's decision to update these parks to compete with Epic Universe, or are you on the fence of you want these parks to stay exactly as they were when you were a child, and you don't want anything new? You want them to stay exactly the same forever, and you don't think Universal Studios is a real threat? Post it in the comment section below, man. I wouldn't mind having a cool debate about this. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, hit that like button. Now you can follow all of my Disney World content here on MarchX79. I appreciate the support. If you wouldn't mind, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on anything. And with that, you can follow me at youtube.com/MarchX79. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, my friends, I will see y'all on the next one, and I will see y'all later. Bye.